You're watching the MWHS Wildcat News, the official news source of Millard West, with Cole Filer and Madeline Augustine.
On this week's edition, we'll cover
flooding and the students affected,
the Q Street Classic,
a PSA on the dangers of potholes,
spring sports setbacks,
and a feature on 9 freshmen. Welcome back, I'm Cole Filer.
And I'm Madeline Augustine.
The recent flooding has affected many students' living situations. Gabriel Paredes and Sydney Looney bring you this in-depth story.
The sweet coming of spring has come sour for most of Nebraska, as a quick spring thaw, rainstorms, a wet winter, and the damage of dams caused immense flooding all across the state. Although gratefully a majority of Millard West students do not live in the impacted zone, for students like sophomore Tyler Merkel, this flood has impacted all aspects of his life, in and outside of school.
First of all, I couldn't go home for 5 days, and that was during spring break, so that was tough. And then we had a bunch of stuff in the basement got ruined, so we had to move a bunch of that out, so now we have to replace all of that. Furniture is probably destroyed, so we have to replace that too. And it's just tough because all the other houses are completely submerged. Our house got lucky, it was just barely, but all the other houses in the surrounding neighborhoods were completely gone. So all the roads to my house are destroyed, and it's been just rough with that. So getting here to school is about 35 minutes now instead of the normal 15, and it's kind of gets really annoying, but you just have to push through it. So,
despite most of Millard not being greatly impacted by the flood, the community still felt the responsibility to help our fellow Nebraskans out west. On March 20th, during spring break, Millard Public Schools organized a collection of flood relief supplies. More than 100 volunteers participated as they collected multiple truckloads of items such as mops, buckets, and other household cleaning items.
It's been amazing. We're just before noon right now, and we've already filled one truck, and the second truck will nearly be full here in the next couple of hours. Our community has just been unbelievable.
Later on that week, on March 22nd, the girls' soccer team decided to take their day off of practice to assemble sack lunches for the first responders helping in the flood. In less than a couple of hours, the team made hundreds of lunches, showing the many ways we can help our community recover from this tragic disaster.
I contacted a few local areas, fire stations, and then the United Cajun Navy is in town, and so I just talked to the guy there, and he was like, yeah, we'll take some sandwiches, that'd be great. And then the next day he called and said, I need 125, and I was like, wow, that's a lot. I'm not sure, I kind of got a little nervous about how we were going to provide for that. We didn't get a final count with how many we fed, but it was close to at least 200 sack lunches, an additional maybe 50 sandwiches, and then plates of cookies and beef jerky and water, and it was really neat to see all the girls come together and then deliver all this stuff on their own.
After so much success in volunteerism with school organizations this past couple of weeks, teachers and staff want students to notice the grand impact they can make even with the smallest contribution.
Sometimes people feel like they have to give so much in order for that giving to matter. That's not true. In this case today, we've seen people bring in a bucket or bring in a mop. Every little bit helps. Any service that you can do to the community helps.
This has been Gabe Paredes and Sydney Looney with MWHS Wildcat News.
On Friday, March 15th, the 4th annual Q Street Classic took place. Sydney Looney and I take you to the action.
On Friday, March 15th, student athletes from Millard West and Millard South met in yet another rivalry game. This game, however, was special. It was the 4th annual Q Street Classic. The game was another leg of both schools' unified programs. The teams had been preparing in the weeks prior in order to be able to show off their skills in front of the crowd.
We had practices on Monday mornings in the gym with our athletes and partners, and then we also got into the gym during 4th lunch, and so our students were able to practice. Some of the partners were able to come down as well, but we just really wanted to focus on some of the more skills of basketball.
The day of the event, the Wildcats headed down Q Street to Millard South, where they were greeted by the biggest crowd yet. For the unified athletes, the Q Street Classic is always a highlight of the school year.
They were all talking about just how packed the gym was over at Millard South and how exciting it was and how loud it got. And it really just, like that adrenaline for them was one of the most exciting parts, I think.
The The Wildcats got an early lead, scoring 2 quick baskets. The Patriots came back and took a 15-13 lead at halftime. As the athletes refueled and came up with a game plan, the crowd was captivated by the Millard South Unified Cheer Team's halftime show. The second half was a back-and-forth game, ultimately leading to a 24-24 tie. After 2 full halves and a 3-minute overtime period, the score remained and the game ended in a tie.
It was really amazing to see the athletes. They would get really excited when they scored a basket or did something great, and they just played really hard and they love it, so that was probably the best part about the game.
After the teams shook hands, both the Wildcats and the Patriots were awarded medals for their efforts.
I felt like a true champion because it felt like that I just completed something that I've been working on for like a millennia or something.
Even though neither team was victorious on the scoreboard, everyone involved couldn't help but feel successful because this game stood for more than just winning or losing.
I think it's important for all students, and especially our students with intellectual challenges, for them to be seen as an equal, and just for them to feel included in these types of activities because they don't always get that, and everyone deserves that opportunity.
Whether it was a fan, referee, coach, or player, everyone in attendance for the Q Street Classic learned something from their experience.
I had a great time, and I learned that being out on the court, it doesn't matter how talented you are, you do your best and compete with honor.
This has been Madeline Augustine and Sydney Looney with this week's edition of the MWHS Wildcat News.
Bree Treader and I bring you this informative PSA on the dangers of potholes.
Omaha streets are plagued with dangerous potholes.
So much so that according to Pine Solomon injury lawyers, Omaha is one of the top 10 cities for potholes.
Potholes are created when water leaks and collects underneath the road. When the temperature drops below freezing, the water expands, causing the surface of the road to be pushed up. As cars drive over it, the cracks begin to form. Ultimately, the sun returns, melting the water beneath the road, thus causing an empty pocket, which eventually collapses under the weight of traffic, leaving behind a pothole.
Of the 33,000 traffic accidents that happen yearly, almost 1/3 of them are a result of poor road conditions. AccuWeather recommends these safety tips to safely maneuver around potholes. First, keep a safe distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. If unable to avoid the pothole, reduce your speed and grip the wheel to avert potential disaster.
Don't forget, puddles of water could be potholes in hiding.
Safe driving, Wildcats.
Due to subpar weather, spring sports have had a couple minor setbacks, but their seasons are finally into full swing. Jasmine Hermosillo Padilla and Kirsten Watkins give us this story.
Due to the record-breaking 27 inches of snow that Omaha received in February, many high school spring sports were delayed. These weather delays caused high school teams to practice indoors. Millard West sports teams were stuck at indoor facilities and inside the gym. The Millard West golf team was fortunate enough to receive indoor equipment that was used during the week of tryouts.
It hasn't affected us that much. I feel like just with the putting and the nets and hitting into the nets with the launch monitors, we've learned a lot about our swings and how far we can hit it, and we made the first cuts indoors, and that really helped a lot.
On Wednesday, March 27th, the boys' JV and reserve golf teams hosted a tournament at Pacific Springs Golf Course against many other Omaha high school golf teams.
Went really well. We had 4 people placed in the top 10, and then our JV black finished second, and our JV green finished third.
As the season goes on, the Millard West boys soccer team has had to deal with multiple drawbacks such as the construction on the turf as well as the weather.
We found ways around it. We've played at an indoor place called the Center, and if we need to, we'll go in the gym.
Even with the delays, the boys varsity soccer team defeated Millard South 1-0 on Tuesday, March 26th. As well as golf and soccer, the Millard West girls tennis team has been making modifications to their practice schedule.
Well, we have limited time because you can only rent them for a certain amount of time, so we don't really have the time to do everything we want to, and whenever we're here, there are courts, so we can just do whatever for however long too.
Getting a feel for their court has been difficult for newcomers due to the cold weather and having to find time to practice in the gym. As the weather gets nicer, the varsity girls tennis team started their season on Tuesday, March 26th against Papillion La Vista High School. All Millard West spring sports teams have done well so far considering the major setbacks caused by the weather. This has been Kirsten Watkins and Jasmine Hermosillo with the MWHS Wildcat News.
9 freshmen are lucky enough to have parents that work for the Millard West staff. Olivia Edwards and Grace Hager report.
School is a place where students go during the day to learn, socialize, and interact with others. Most students are separated from their family during the day while they're busy at school, giving them a chance to interact with new people. However, for the 9 freshmen with parents working at Millard West, the school day provides a chance for parents and children to grow closer together.
Hi, my name is Juan Aguirre and I've been here for 12 years and I teach Spanish.
I'm Lauren Aguirre, I'm his daughter and I'm a freshman here at West.
I teach English and social studies.
This is my 5th year. I'm a speech pathologist.
This is my 13th year here.
One perk of the day might be spending so much time together in the same building.
Like all the teachers know my mom, so if I ever do anything bad, then I get in trouble right away.
I come in during QT a lot, just to come in and talk to her.
Yeah. I mean, when she needs money, I see her then.
Spending so much time together might just be the key to these loving relationships. We like to travel, being in airports, going to Costa Rica and hang out. We like playing music together.
We have a good relationship. We talk a lot and
I'd say we're pretty close. We get along well.
I think we have a pretty close relationship. We can really talk about anything, and we go out and do things and have a lot of fun together as mom and son.
It's nice that I can go and I can talk to her whenever I need something.
I like that I can come and talk to her about whatever, and I can come in and be annoying, and it's fine.
Although most students see their parents throughout the day, they typically don't notice much of a difference in their relationships.
I don't really think it changes anything. I mean, I probably annoy her more because I'm here all the time.
No.
But
I don't know. I think it's actually kind of nice to come to school together and then leave every day together.
It's fun to see him during the day sometimes, where normally if I'd go off to work and he'd go off to school, I wouldn't see him at all. So every once in a while when we bump into each other.
Surprisingly, most students thought it wasn't awkward at all to see their parent during the day.
No. So, when she walks into a room, to talk to our class, people are like, "Oh my God, it's your mom!" But that's it. Nobody cares.
I knew that I wouldn't have to be around her all the time. But yeah, I just knew it wouldn't affect a lot of my classes.
As well as spending time together during the day, families tend to spend plenty of time together after school. Sing and play, and it came natural to them. It happened, I think. It's just she starting to discover music, and we just play.
This has been Olivia Edwards
And Grace Hager
here with the MWHS Wildcat News.
That's it for this week, Wildcats. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at MWHS Catalyst.
And for more stories, check out our website at millardwestcatalyst.com.
See you next time, Wildcats.